Hello and welcome to round 2 of the Parenting Roundabout podcast. I'm Terry Morrow and I'm here with Catherine Haleko.
Hi.
Usually on this podcast we talk about parenting issues, but once a week Catherine and I like to get together to discuss TV, movies, books, and other entertainment topics because it's nice to talk about something other than parenting for a change. This week we are continuing with our latest show watches. We're catching up with the series Veronica Mars, which we missed the first time through, and we are watching it with the accompanying podcast, Veronica Mars Investigations. But first, our new show, Zoey's Extraordinary Playlist. So this week we watched the second episode of Zoey's Extraordinary Playlist, which has been a long time coming. The pilot got released quite some time ago, and NBC has been showing it every possible where they can. I think it's been on every channel in the NBC family. It's been on every website possible. It's free everywhere. They're streaming it everywhere. They just want to get some eyeballs on this thing. Please, will you watch it? But I got to think that the people who are into this watched it like immediately, and the people who are not into this are never ever going to be into it. NBC, you can stream it on the inside of their eyelids and they are still not going to be there for it. Yeah. Including, of course, my husband who fled from the room at the mere mention of it. I'm not watching that with you. So, he did actually stay in the room a little bit. And then once people started singing, I Got the Music in Me, he was,
Yeah, he was all done.
He did not have the music in him, let's just say. So the title of this episode we watched was Zoey's Extraordinary Best Friend. And I gotta say, man, this show's got enough tweeness going against it already. You're really gonna make everything Zoey's Extraordinary blank?
Right.
Really? Really? Oh dear. Seriously, the title makes not that much sense and is lengthy and maybe not the best idea. And then you're doubling down.
And it really makes the title of our podcast episodes extremely long.
It does. I think we just got to start calling it, just abbreviate to ZE from now on.
Even their hashtag, they leave out extraordinary.
Yes, I saw that.
Zoey's Playlist.
I saw that. So, somebody acknowledges there's a problem. Mm-hmm. But, there's so much, I think, maybe we said this the last time that there's so much to pick on, and yet I do like me some musical numbers, and they're quite often just adorable and wonderful, and I like that.
I think I like it better when it's a character that we know. It's less effective when it's just the randoms in the coffee shop.
Yes. I think it's like 150% more effective when it's Skylar Astin doing it. And, yes, more numbers by him. It's just like, dude knows how to sing and dance, I just gotta say, he's really smooth and good at it. And other people, maybe not so much, but, I enjoy watching him quite a bit. I don't think I've ever seen, had been aware of his existence, but never actually seen him at work. So, he's really good at it.
Was he in Pitch Perfect?
He was in Pitch Perfect's plural, I think, 1 and 2. I looked him up on Wikipedia while I was watching the episode. I've heard of this guy. He was in Broadway on Spring Awakening when he was quite young. And then he was also in Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. He was, I think in the last season, he played the character that Santino Fontana played earlier.
Okay.
So I guess Greg went away as one guy and came back as somebody else, which I usually would discourage, but I can see him stepping right into that part. Mm-hmm. And, of course, he's completely adorable here as her best friend who he does not know she knows that he's a sucker for her. Mm-hmm. So.
But she's fairly easily foisted him up on their barista.
That's right.
He must not have been that into her because
I guess
pretty easy.
Yeah. Well, I suppose if somebody shuts you down and said, "Here's somebody else for you," what are you going to do? But the fact that he came over and was so sweet with her dad,
yes,
that was so cute. And always loved Peter Gallagher arising from the near dead to deliver a musical number and then sinking back down into the couch.
Just folding back onto his spot on the couch.
Oh, and he did get a little bit in the dream sequence there at the beginning, too. So, you know, get 2 numbers. But, yeah, you know, there's quite a lot I like about it. One thing I think, I don't know why it has to be an hour long.
Mm-hmm.
Why does it have to be an hour long?
Because they need room for all their songs and dances.
I thought so, but you know what? At the half an hour mark, I was ready for it to be done, and I think they could have tied up a plot in that amount of time. It would have just been a shorter plot. Maybe instead of 3 or 4 storylines, you get 1 storyline.
Right.
Or, you know, I think it would have been better as a sitcom. Because with an hour, you get more time to kind of think about how...
It doesn't really make sense.
And it gives more time for, you know, apology for the premise over and over again, still.
Right. And the aforementioned randoms singing.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. We could have less randoms singing. You know, I did not mind the opening dream sequence. It gave her a chance to sing and dance for a change, which she did very adroitly. And, but yeah, the coffee shop I could have done without. Although it was very pleasant to watch. It was, you know, nicely executed.
Well, I mean, I liked the dance, you know, the choreography.
Yes, you leave humming the choreography, so that's always fine.
Right. And, you know, of course, that gave her the idea to set Max up with Barista.
That's a long way to go for that plot line, though, I think.
Right.
So I just really, I mean, obviously it's set in its ways now. It's just going to be an hour. It has to be an hour to accommodate the length of the title, but still, you know, I wish I could have gone into the planning meetings for this show and
given them
perhaps
some advice.
Sang several plaintive numbers about, you know, not... Your audience is going to love you. Don't ask so much from them.
Right.
I mean, maybe you could be a little kinder. I'll have to think of which popular tune would be appropriate to deliver that message. But
it is funny, the little runner that she's got this power now, and she hasn't heard of these songs.
I know.
Like, what was this song? Something about a moon dance.
Yeah.
Have you've heard of Sade? And she's like, yeah, I have. No, she hadn't.
Oh dear. How old is she supposed to be, this girl?
I think it's more that she's just like a nerd.
She's just always been in front of a computer. Yeah, I guess. But her platonic best friend knows both the Partridge Family and the Jonas Brothers, so...
Right. He managed to...
yeah, he's got at least a little range.
Yeah, he has a little more game in that area than she does.
Although I'm not sure we're supposed to assume that the music that their thoughts translate into is necessarily tunes chosen by the person.
Right. I mean, it's more about...
The mechanics of this thing has still not been explicated in a way that makes any particular sense.
No.
Is it the music she had physically downloaded into her brain, which is there without her conscious knowledge?
And then it matches up with what people are thinking.
Yeah.
And so then she's also reading minds at the same time.
Right.
Yeah.
She needs to, download a printed playlist, clearly, so she can research. Well, see, she's researching, you know? She's researching the songs as they come along.
Right.
Learning about Van Morrison. You go, girl. So, I don't know. It is... at times, very nicely done and nicely executed. And at times, you just want to say, see, now this is 5 minutes that could have come out.
Right, you're taking this just one step further than you need to.
Yes. Let me trim 30 minutes out of this episode for you.
Right.
Yeah. Oh well. We will keep watching until it's Zoey's extraordinary cancellation.
Yes.
I hear it. I hear the wafting strains of it quite a bit down the road, but maybe not so far.
No, not
we shall see.
Too far.
I want to see a bunch of network executives pirouette onto the screen and sing. We'll have to think about what song that they would sing to drop the axe.
Yeah, like Another One Bites the Dust, or...
Yeah, there you go. Yes, I think that would be appropriate. I think NBC needs to work that up in case they ever need to use it.
Go and get the rights to that song. It might take a while.
She'll just be living her life, and all of a sudden she'll hear all over the place network executives singing. Mm-hmm. It's all over, so. But not yet.
Nope. Next week it's Zoey's Extraordinary Boss. Lauren Graham.
Right. Yep. Not much to do in this episode.
No. It's coming next week.
She's saving it all up. Pretty sure she's going to sing I Can't Get No Satisfaction because they've been promising us that for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, the pilot ended with the big cliffhanger of Max singing I Think I Love You. And this one did not have a cliffhanger. It just had, previews for the next week, which was very different.
Yes.
But I guess maybe they knew that they were going to be waiting a very, very long time between the pilot and episode 2.
Yeah, that was an interesting delivery model for this show. Mm-hmm. But only have to wait a week for the next one.
That's right.
We're pretty sure. So, we continue with Veronica Mars with the second episode, which is called Credit Where Credit's Due. And the case of the week involves credit card fraud, which we are, in the grand tradition of TV shows, if you think you found out who did it and it's not at a certain point in the episode, you know that that's not correct. Right. So, a little twisty there. Not necessarily credibly twisty, but that plot line had the severe impediment of involving Paris Hilton. So, oh my goodness.
That was rough.
That was rough. Yes. Acting, not so much Paris's thing.
No. Also, the whole show, I feel like it very much felt to me like one of those things where they aired the pilot and then 4 months later, the show actually started.
Yes, I did have that feeling.
There was so much re-explicating and reminding about why Veronica's life is so crappy.
Yeah, there was. That's correct. And I also was confused because I thought at the end of the pilot, she was knocking on the door that we now knew her mother was probably behind. Yeah. And so I expected this episode to pick up with the door being opened. So when it just seemed to have absolutely no memory of that happening at all, no mention of it through the entire episode, no continuity whatsoever, I went back to the first episode and fast forwarded to the end in which she knocks on the door, nobody answers, and then she kind of walks away and looks over the railing. So I guess she just never went back to try again. There's, it goes with what you said. It's like, they made this nice noir pilot and then, oh my goodness, we have to make a whole season of these things. Okay, let's just throw a couple of lightweight ones up and, milk out our mystery.
Right.
It was weird to me that there was absolutely no mention of this. She never said anything to her dad about, by the way, I know who that license plate belongs to. What up? Just like that never, ever happened.
Yeah.
That bothered me.
But yet we had to get all kinds of reminders about what happened, which we already knew.
Yes, absolutely.
There was no advancing that particular plot, except for the part of the one tiny detail that Lily ran a red light 2 hours after she was supposed to be dead.
Right.
And if they're going to, move this along at that sort of pace, oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's a little disappointing, isn't it? Yeah. And it was the way the exposition was doled out in this thing, what was it? They were talking about this on Veronica Mars Investigations also, that they mention in one scene that, oh, your grandmother is my housekeeper. And then in the next scene, the grandmother is being arrested for the credit cards fraud. Right. So it's okay, we gotta let people know ahead of time that let's just drop it into the dialogue in the most clunky way possible. And the same with the date of Lily's death. The sheriff has to make this joke to to Keith Mars about, oh, it's October 3rd. Do you want to celebrate your stupidity day or something like that? And then later on, when we find out the tickets are from that date, it's like, ooh.
Right.
But I don't know. It feels like it could have been done more gracefully. I mean, I guess it was efficient, but it called attention to itself in being so, here are the things we need people to know, so let's drop these things into dialogue without a lot of grace. So, I don't know. But the little thing with Veronica and her dad at the hotel doing their little play acting was kind of adorable, even though I don't know that it would have worked. But, okay.
It was also convoluted, that whole,
it did.
Well, I have the bill, but I don't know who was there. I don't know. I was like, am I following? I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, the case of the week was a little fraught. It seemed more complicated than it needed to be. And, oh my goodness, does that dude have poor taste in women? Because really, well, I guess she's pretty, but this was at the same time that Paris Hilton was a big deal in The Simple Life with Nicole Richie. That was started in 2003, and this was 2004. So
it was a big get.
I guess so, but oh my goodness, could she have been more wooden?
No.
They needed to contrive a plot by which she just stood there looking rich and slightly evil and didn't have to actually speak.
Right. They got pretty close.
Although even though later when she's looking out the window, really all she has to do is look rich and slightly evil, and she can't even really pull it off there. She looks completely blank.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, honey. This is not for you.
No, for sure.
So that was disappointing. Speaking of guest stars, she really truly is on only this one episode, which I'm happy. I guess she gets shipped off somewhere after this humiliating experience. But an Ashmore. I was so excited to see an Ashmore. I think they mentioned this on the Veronica Mars investigations also. There are these twin brother actors, Sean and Aaron Ashmore, and they turn up in a lot of things. And I'm always excited when I have a sighting. And so at the beginning when the two characters are in the car, I'm going, he's very young. I have never seen them this young, but that looks like an Ashmore. Is that an Ashmore? Because, I mean, they're just kind of generic-looking, handsome dudes. So it's possible it could be anybody. The character of Troy, newly introduced. And then the cast names came up at the beginning, the credits, and I'm like, yes! Yes! So that was very exciting for me. It's, a little TV watching hobby I have. I believe that was Aaron, who was in the Veronica Mars episode. I first saw him in Warehouse 13, which is, I don't know if you ever saw that. It was a science fiction series on Syfy. But that's when I became aware of the brothers, because then he would pop up in something else and I would look it up and know it was not him. It was Sean. Well, nice to see you there, Aaron. Nice to see you there as a little baby waspy guy.
Right. And are you a good guy or not?
Yeah. You know what? I'm bad. I had to look up to see if I could fully be enthusiastic that he was there, if he was going to be a friend for Veronica or not. And I will not spoil you on what the Veronica Mars wiki told me about Troy, but this show has a fairly clear delineation of who can be good or mixed good and bad and who is just evil.
Right.
So you can kind of figure from there.
Okay. But I can draw my own conclusion.
Which side of the line Troy is on.
Yeah, just by being named Troy.
Exactly.
It's a problem.
And his dad is an architect. So, yeah. And Paris Hilton thinks he's cool, so.
Yeah.
But speaking of evilness, I mean, the sheriff is just cartoon evil. Yes. But Logan is, kind of a psychopath. Mm-hmm. That is not a subtly drawn character either,
No.
Dude has no redeeming qualities.
He sure doesn't.
Yeah,
even Weevil is way better.
Weevil gets to be good sometimes and bad sometimes. So I was amused when Veronica is trying to save him and Wallace is like, you remember that he taped me to a flagpole in the previous episode. Which...
Completely naked also.
Exactly. Why are we helping him exactly? But, Right. Yeah, it's not a complicated dichotomy in this town.
No.
I'm enjoying Amanda I was going to look up how you say her last name. Do you know how to say her last name?
Seyfried?
I'm looking it up now, see if I can find... Yeah, dead girl. She's like, her entire performance in this show is going to be in flashback, but...
right.
Celebrity names you're finally probably saying wrong. All right, let's see. I like that they tell you how to pronounce Amanda also.
Oh, okay, good.
Just in case. All right, so Pop Buzz tells me that it's Amanda Seyfried, but
Okay.
Girl from Mamma Mia is very enjoyable as, carefree teen Lily, doomed carefree teen Lily,
right,
who has secrets and doesn't much like her mom, and
has a lot of parking tickets.
Yes. And apparently ran a red light when she's dead, which is not an easy thing to do, let me tell you.
No.
But I wish they had been a little more clear that they kept saying, this was like 2 hours after she died, and we saw her like with her head bashed in by the pool.
Yeah.
So it wasn't 2 hours after that. It was 2 hours after what the coroner figured the time of death must have been.
Right.
Which is the way they should have said it. Because otherwise it sounds like we all saw her dead by the pool, and then 2 hours later she was running a red light.
Yeah. You can't get away with was she really dead?
That's right.
You saw her
we're really pretty sure.
For sure.
So the fact that now nobody has an alibi is kind of interesting. But what do you do with that information exactly?
Right.
Especially now since the sheriff knew she was up to something. So I expect more evil sheriff shenanigans. Which I'm not necessarily there for.
Right.
But some of these people are just not fun to spend time on. But others of them quite a bit are.
Yeah.
I liked the grandma very much. She seemed pretty down to earth. Her despair in learning that her grandson had taken up with the girl who didn't want her ice cubes made with tap water was genuine and heartfelt, and okay, let him go to jail. Really,
this changes everything.
That is too far, my boy.
Yeah.
Framing me and then letting your cousin take the rap, fine. But that girl?
But Paris
really?
Hilton, please.
Oh, well, yes. Fortunately, it does not look like Paris recurs, so they'll have to find other stiff, waspy actresses to bring on.
Right.
And we will discuss them with relish, as they do.
Yes.
Next week, we will talk about the third episode of Zoey's Extraordinary Playlist, called Zoey's Extraordinary Boss. And the third episode of Veronica Mars, which is called Meet John Smith. Sounds like another white dude. That's going to be it for our round 2 today. Please subscribe to our Parenting Roundabout podcast so you won't miss any of our episodes. We have something new for you every weekday. As always, you can find recaps, links, and an opportunity to comment on our website at parentingroundabout.com. Goodbye, Catherine.
Bye, Terry.
Goodbye, everybody.